Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. We're going to wrap up today with a special selection, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is you want me to check out. Today's comes at us from Colby, El Huervo, Lovers. No context to this one, we're just going to dive straight in. It is a 9-minute track, a bit on the longer side, but let's see what it's all about. We're about a minute in now, and I don't have a read on this at all. I mean, we have chiptune here, we had noise at the beginning. And it's very minimalistic as well. We've added 2 more layers. Little thing over here, and then the bass over here. This little chirpy guy. Chiptune lead. I don't think we removed a single layer so far. Everything's been additive. Alright, so we didn't remove any single idea, we just removed everything. I'm gonna build back up again. We've hit the midpoint of the track too, so... Oh, even this! Yeah, that's come back from the opening. We haven't heard that in 3 minutes now. New drum pattern. Yeah, 2 chords, but different from where we were last time. using the 2 seconds of silence idea to introduce new layers either. We're just allowing the song to flow. A lot of compression on that crash cymbal, trash can in the background. Almost kind of springy. We got front top, some chiptune stuff up there again. Ooh. The compression cut out. The thing just opened up. It's interesting listening to this coming off of last week's electronica theme. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need a lot of help with this one. As far as comments go, people giving their own perspectives on it. Primarily because I think this is just a really tough first listen. I don't know if it's like that for everyone, particularly people who are already fans of this type of electronica work, or if it's just a tough listen for everyone. But I think not having a lot of experience with the style is just gonna make it even more difficult. So let's dive into this. The song, as far as I can hear it, exists in three parts. The first is about 5 minutes long, the second is about two and a half, and the last one is also two and a half. I think that's a. I think I messed something up there. It's only 9 minutes long. There's like four, two and a half, something like that. What I'm getting at though is that our B and C sections exist for much shorter than our A does. I don't know what the purpose of that was. We just stuck around with the A for a lot longer, and I wonder if maybe that's because we also had the intro in there, and if we cut the intro out, maybe they're all generally about 2.5 minutes long. I don't know. But all three sections are similar in construction, where we take one idea or maybe two, yeah, usually one not musical, or melodic idea, maybe harmonic, and we pair it with a rhythmic, and that's our basis. And from there, we just continuously add layers on top of it until it becomes too unwieldy, in which case we simplify it back down to a rhythmic and a harmonic or melodic, and we build back up again. That is the journey that the song exists on, and every section is predicated on it. The layers are various things. Sometimes they're foundational, sometimes they're atmospheric, sometimes they're harmonic, sometimes they're melodic, and they seem to come in pairs. Rarely do we add just one new idea. We usually add two, and we allow them to exist for quite some time. Usually, it feels to me at least two full phrase repetitions, which takes up quite a bit of time, and it allows each section to pacing wise, I think we call it we give it the ability to breathe. I think some of the sections tended to overstay just a little bit, but it's also from my perspective of exploration. The ideas that were added, the new layers, were not exceptionally deep, and they tended to be additive to what was happening already. So it's not like they were reinventing or establishing a new concept on top of what we are already hearing, they just added on to it. So without recontextualizing things, my understanding of most of the new layers was just a new idea, a new lick, a new timbre. And once I heard that, I was ready to move on from an analytical perspective. From a casual perspective, I wager that a lot of this track is just about exploring. Um, It's kind of closing your eyes and allowing the song to be and feeling what it's doing and really taking in the atmosphere of it all. It's difficult to do that in this setting for me, primarily because I have 4 years of muscle memory set up that when the lights are on and the camera's here that I'm very analytical about the music. It's a lot easier for me to slip into a casual mindset, sitting at a couch instead of standing in front of a desk. But I wager this song works a lot better in a casual environment. But it also could just be that I'm missing something from a first listen. Anyways, back onto the idea of pacing. I think the pacing was a bit slow for this setting, but it's probably just fine for a casual one. Each section had enough time to breathe. I felt that we could have compressed them down a little bit, but honestly, I think that they're probably fairly balanced, and that each section is around just long enough, right up to the cusp of overstaying its welcome before the next idea comes in or before we go into the next section. And the 9 minute runtime probably feels fine, if not a little short, for a casual listen if you're really allowing yourself to get lost in the music. Now, there's a lot of timbres in here, and I think that's probably going to be my last point here that I want to look at. There's what sounds to me as traditional drum kit. There's synthesizers, there's chip tune, there's electronic glitch. Um, there's also a violin. There's some digital percussion in here. It's a smorgasbord of what seems to me is a collaboration of electronic sounds and acoustic sounds, and it's really difficult, at least for me, to get a strong feel on what it's doing because it feels like it's doing a lot. Aside from just the meditative element of the lengthy sections, the grouping of instruments, the collection of timbres here feels haphazardly picked. Not that I think that they're randomly pulling from a hat. Oh, this line's going to be chiptune, and they apply that VST or whatever. But that I don't see the connection. You know, um, I just failed when a new line comes in, and I'm like, oh, this is now chiptune, or this is now glitch, or this is now a violin. I never really feel its connection to the music. It feels haphazard to me. All right, I don't want anyone to confuse that with me saying that they're randomly applying things. I'm sure to the group or slash artist, I don't know where El Huervo lies on that distinction, if it's a one person thing or a full band. Um, I'm sure that they have a strong sense of what each of these instruments is supposed to be, where it fits in the larger composition, maybe where it fits in the larger themes, what the story is to them, what they're trying to say through their music. I can't hear it though. Maybe that's something that gets unlocked on a second, third, fifth listen. Maybe that's something that gets unlocked with context, whether it's interviews or liner notes. This wouldn't be the first song that made little sense to me in isolation, but when I read liner notes or someone explained to me what was said in an interview, I'm like, oh, I totally get it now. And that comes around to the idea of word painting as well. What feels a bit abstract to me could make perfect sense if I understood what that abstraction was supposed to be representing. And at this point, it just feels abstract. I am appreciative of the overall vibe, though. There's a nice groove that goes throughout most of this track, and the atmosphere is rather positive. It feels like a party, and I really enjoy that, even if most of the pieces feel loosely connected to the others. The timbres might feel out of place, but the composition itself makes a lot of sense to me. It's just a fun groove to listen to. I found it really difficult not to move my body to most of this, and having listened to it, outside of the bit of confusion I have about why they chose some of the sounds they did, and any confusion about the general meaning of the song, I am rather happy after listening to it. It is a very feel good song, very bouncy, very upbeat, fantastic groove, and maybe that's all it's supposed to be. It could be a jam band for all I know. I've never heard of El Huevo, not even in passing before. It's a name I've never heard brought up. Um, and they very well could be a jam band. They get on stage, they play some fun music, some people dance to it, some people just enjoy it, sitting at a table and watching them play. Again, I don't know if they're a band or an artist, single person. Um, but that's kind of my picturing of this is it in my mind is a band and people just enjoy the music, whether they casually enjoy it with like a beer and watching the band play, or they're dancing with the band, but it's music for music's sake. um, and people are just enjoying the vibes that the band's making, and that's where my appreciation for it sits right now. I don't understand it from the perspective of art. I don't know what it's trying to tell me, but I do know it makes me happy and it makes me want to move my body. And sometimes that's all a song really needs to do. I think it'd be pretty awesome if they have a larger theme in mind, primarily just because I like it when music has more of a thematic angle to it. But Music doesn't need to do that. Maybe that's what this is. Those are my thoughts on El Huervo's Lovers. Let me know what you thought of this one in the comments. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm really hoping to see other people's perspective on it, what they get out of it. Additionally, if there is any authorial intent that has been documented, either again through liner notes or interviews. Wait, does this have any? Nope, there is no context here. Genius sometimes has interviews and stuff, even though it's an instrumental. I thought maybe there might be something there, but there's not. So yeah, let me know what you thought though, down in the comments, your perspective, or if you have links to any authorial stuff. I'm really interested in other people's takes on this track. Above that, in the description box, you can find a link to Linktree. In there, you'll find this menu. If you click on it, you'll find this menu. You can find ways to support the channel, a link to my music, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. That wraps it up for today. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be starting with, continuing on with our Wild Shifts theme, looking at King Crimson. Tomorrow specifically, we'll look at their indicative style, something that's very typical for them. And then Thursday, we'll look at something that is way outside of their norm. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.